Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order and acknowledge that we're in Treaty 1 territory, the home and traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, Innu, Cree, and Dakota peoples, and in the national homeland of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation in Treaty 3 territory. My name is Lynn Nesbitt, and I am chairing the panel today. Other members of the panel and sitting in the committee room are Mr. Robert Belenke and Ms. Valerie Werhun. Our secretary today is Stephen Lunn, and our assessors are Elena Kostarova and Candice Wright. To the Zoom participants of the hearing, please note you are placed in the waiting room until your property is called upon. When it is your turn, you will be admitted into the meeting. Kindly follow along on the City's Board of Revision YouTube channel for the hearing process. Once the host admits you into the hearing, please close or mute your YouTube player. You will then be permitted to speak with respect to your property. Once your hearing has concluded, you can leave the meeting. We'll be hearing applications for revision of the assessment roll in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we will limit discussion to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council and is independent of it and the City Administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the Board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to the Court of Queen's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the Board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I'll confirm the points of appeal with your property to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony, followed by questions that the applicant may have, and then the applicant's testimony, followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all of the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all the applications have been heard, and the Board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You will receive the Board's decision by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. We will be hearing items 1 through 4, 6, 8, 9, 12, and 13 on our docket today. Mr. Lunn, please affirm the assessor's and the applicant's testimony. Thank you.
Madame Wright, please state your full name.
Candice Wright?
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Kostarova, please stand. Please state your full name. Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. And then, Madame applicants, if you both stand, please. I'll affirm you both. Madame Ashley, please state your full name.
Lashley.
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. And Madame Fable, please state your full name.
Diana Fable?
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. People may be seated.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this hearing of the Board of Revision. Today, we're going to start with item number 1 on our docket. That's 1460 Portage Avenue, Unit 305. Ms. Kostarova, you can start us off, please, when you're ready.
Sure, thank you, Chairperson. I would like to bring that right away to the attention that in this docket, I have 4 units from the same location at 1460 Portage Avenue. And I would like to kind of review them all at the same time. So my comparables will be all speaking to all the units from this docket.
Okay, just to start though, first what is your intention to start off with unit 305, speak to it, then the comparables, and then we'll use the same comparables for the remainder?
That is correct.
Okay, so let's spend some extra time on the comparables the first go, and then if we have other questions about them, we can ask as we go through.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
So right at the beginning, I would like to bring to your attention that this condo complex, which is located at 1460 Portage, condo number 297, is the most unique condo complex we have in Winnipeg area altogether. This is only one condo complex as a lease-like condo. Normally, we see only the apartments under the circumstances, but the condo complex 297 was only one in the whole Winnipeg city. So we still have to treat it slightly different than any other condos we normally do. Even though individual unit owners are registered at the land title, they are listed as having the leasehold interest. And Donwood West Incorporation is listed as having the freehold interest. The leasehold interest, as we know, is always have a lower value than the fee simple interest. In our assessment for our assessment purposes, we are using the value of fee simple interest and not the lease fee or leasehold interest. It is generally accepted that is the value of the fee simple estate, which means the full rights of the ownership will be used for the assessment purposes. The market value, and in our case, in general, in this case for the 1460 Portage Avenue, the units in this complex do not hold the fee simple interest. So the market value includes open market, which we have, and we know that those units are listed and sold on MLS. However, it's also, we're looking for the unrestricted and fee simple title, which we unfortunately don't have. So the transfer of the title is not registered as the sale with the land title office, and we don't receive the sale prices from the land title office. The sale prices on MLS for the units in this complex do not represent the market value of the fee simple interest. In this case, we had to go totally elsewhere to look for the comparables. So in this case, my comparables to support the value had to be taken from the complexes where the sale represents the fee simple interest. I just took the closest look at the sizes of the subject, obviously at the same style of the building. It cannot be, has to be 4 and higher story building, because in our case, our subjects have the 8 floor level building. It has to be similar in quality with the similar age. And in this case, I took same street because we know Portage is very busy street, and almost in the same area, which means this specific subject is located beside the Polo Park. So I would like to now present you 8 comparables. And the reason I chose 8 because I draw the 2 totally different the condos. And what I paid attention to actually the lowest market sales. And the reason for that we know that the lowest market sales, first of all, will be for the trying to support the best and give the best fair assessment for the subject. Our comparable from 1 to 4, taking from the condo number 80. And this condo number 80 is located at 261 Queen Street. And the comparable number 5 to 8 taken from the condo number 245, which is located at 3,200 Portage Avenue. So those two comparables, they are not in the same neighborhood. And in those two comparables are very close to the neighborhood. Let's go back to our subject first, and then I'll come back to our comparables. So our condo number is with the roll 1208 015 0800. It's the unit 305 at 1460 Portage Avenue. Neighborhood area is west of Worsley, for our number is 226, and it is located in the Tuxedo area. The building style is an apartment condo. The year built is 1987. It was no significant renovations done except the flooring, and the effective year built stays the same, 1987. The floor location of the unit is number 3 from the 8-story building. It has the living space of 841 square feet. The bedroom is only 1. We have the full 1 bathroom. The air conditioner is wall unit. This specific subject has the in-suite laundry. It has the balcony, and the balcony is glazed. I would like to bring to your attention just to make one change. After reviewing the evidence of the appellant, I have noticed that they do not have the indoor parking. So if I could just ask you to cross it off the indoor parking, put it at 0, and put 1 in outdoor parking. That would be only the change for the subject. The view features of the subject, they do face the heavy traffic, which is Portage, as well as they have the railway on the right side. However, for us, the heavy traffic is, we cannot put all the view features. So we're taking the most noisiest and the most, which is reducing the value. So that is the traffic, it's a heavy traffic. We know that at this point, the proposed assessed value for 2023 is $135,000, which brings the total assessment of value per square foot at $160.52. Now let's go back to my comparables, which I will slightly touch upon, and I will get right to the comparables from 1 to 8 on my docket. They are all apartment condo style. The year built range from 1969 to 1972. They're slightly older buildings than our subject. And once again, this is the reason I'm trying to go for the lowest market to bring the better assessment. The effective year built is range from 1969 to 1987. That is due to some quite intense renovations, and none of the units are allocated on the 12th floor, which actually considerably more desirable. So that is from 1 to 8, and the living area ranges from 692 square feet to 884 square feet. The bedroom ranges from 1 to 2 bedroom, and only the reason for that because our subject is 841 square feet, and the comparable one is the largest for the square footage at 884, which is only almost the difference of 40 square feet, but they do have 2 bedrooms, which I would like to bring to your attention that the bedroom sizes will be way smaller. And we do know that the subject itself is the age limited. And because it's age limited, and we know that accessibility is very important for this specific condo complex, the wider, the bigger the room, the better for our subject. So I just, that's the reason for my bedroom count to be ranging from 1 to 2. All units have only 1 full bath. They all have the wall unit air conditioning. And none of those units have the fireplace. None of the units have the in-suite laundry. They all have to share that laundry, and that is the inferior to our subject. All have the open balconies, and once again, it's not glazed as it's with our subject. In our knowledge, the open balcony, sometimes it is the more inferior than the glazed balcony, less noise, especially with the location of our comparables. All units have the outdoor uncovered parking, except the comparable number 2, which has outdoor, but it's covered. And the sale price range between $124,000 to $160,000. Sale prices per square foot range between $179.19 to $205 and 23 cents. In this case, it's for the apartment style condos. It was found that during the reference period, it was no significant time adjustment. So we haven't really seen much of a difference. And in this case, our time adjustment will be not adjusted and will stay the same as during the sale times. So, and for that reason, you see exactly the same price the same time adjustment for the sale prices and time adjustment for the price sale per square footage. And reviewing the comparables from 1 to 8, understanding that our subject has way more the amenities than all other 2 complexes I'm providing. They don't have any amenities except the elevators, really. I think that based on the lowest market value at this point, I have to say that $135,000, the proposed assessed value for 2023, is very well supported. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kostarova. Ms. Lashley or Ms. Favel, do you have any questions of the evidence presented by the assessor?
I guess we're not disputing the values of the condos that are being sold, the other condos that you've given as comparables. I've looked them up myself and gone online just to see what exactly they entail. And what we can't understand is that you are going to compare us to those sales that are real condos as opposed to the life lease that our building is under. Because it obviously is a different legal animal. We do pay our own property taxes, and we do have sales under the multiple listing services through realtors like everybody else. We do have restrictions for age qualification, so it limits the amount of market that we have.
Excuse me, do you have a question? I don't want you to get into your evidence quite yet, but if you have questions, that would be great.
Maybe one of the questions would be, I do not, in all of the, I don't see where you're taking into account the parking differences between units, buildings. Also, you mentioned the laundry, the fact that we have in-suite laundry facilities, which assist senior people. Also, what I question is you don't mention in your assessment is that it's free laundry in the 3200 block of Portage Avenue. They have free laundry service there. They also have condo fees there that are much lower, like almost half of what we are paying for condo fees. And their condo fees include heat and hydro. That's a significant value difference between what we are subject to.
So you're saying that the hydro, you paying yourself because it states on MLS that you current condo 297 pays
Sorry,
for the
condo-
parking.
Condo 297?
It's yours. It's
No.
yours.
I think she's referring to the building.
Oh,
Yes, sorry, it's a condo
Condo
complex.
number.
We call it condo complex. Yes.
okay.
So it's contributions includes the hot water, insurance, common areas, landscaping, management, parking, and recreation facility, as well as water. And I do understand that you do pay way higher the condo fees. However, the condo complex located at 261 Queen is actually closer to you, and they pay between the $317 or so 72 cents to 520, 519 to 30, and they have none of the amenities you have, which are the gym and everything, what the party room, the professional management, the rec room center. So in this case, I understand that, and I'm just taking the lowest level. And normally, people who are the amenities are desirable, and if they want and willing to, they know that they have to pay them in condo fees. We don't control condo fees. They are unfortunately tied up together with the market of the unit selling. So, and for that reason,
the
I'm
heat and
taking
hydro is what I'm referring to specifically.
they all pay. I understand. But they all pay the condo fees, and as well, they all pay the condo complex. Each unit still has to pay their own taxes, property taxes, which you were referring before as well.
Right.
So yes, you are absolutely unique. And if I will look at the age limit, they normally way higher for all the amenities they do have. And just for that reason, I did not go there, because it would not be fair to continue providing you at the higher market value, because you are totally unique. So just for that reason, I went for something totally different for the most lower market values in closer to your area, close to your polo park, because it's a very busy area. And the condo complex 261 on Queen Street, they have very similar accessibility, because your road accessibility is not allowing you to access very easily with only one lane and one way out. The same with the 261. So, and I would like
we
to.
have no street parking.
That would be very similar to it. It's very unlimited, and they parking on the outside. Yet, I would like to bring that to your attention too, that yes, they do have the parking, which is included with the condo fees, and that is why the condo fees are slightly higher. I'm slightly confused that it says in here that it is including in your specific condo complex. It's including the parking, if it's outside or indoor. For the condo complex located at 32,000 Portage Avenue, they do, however, have to pay extra for covered and non-covered monthly, and that it states on MLS too. And they do have to pay $15 a month for the outdoor and $25 for the covered indoor for the covered parking. So it is already something extra on top of nothing they have there. That is, for me, we're trying to be fair, and the best fair solution was to go for something lower for the market values.
So how do you justify the fact that our units are selling for such low prices? And then to say that we are comparable to these condos that are selling for between 130
you have
and
no
150.
fee simple. It's no fee simple interest, because you're not only the owner of the specific unit. Right. Unfortunately, you're not the primary owner, if we will call it that way. The Donwood West Incorporation is the primary owner, and you are the secondary as we speak, because once again, you have the leasehold interest, and the Donwood West has the freehold interest. It's slightly different. And for that matter, once we add all those pieces together, you and Donwood West then altogether we might gonna get the fee simple interest. At this moment, we don't. And that is why you're so unique in this matter. And yes, we do know that
So for that reason,
leasehold interest is
why
way
would we
lower
be compared to something that is a standalone condo?
because you still have a condo declaration, which means you register under the condo deck, under Condo Act. And unfortunately,
But you
we have
don't,
no other
you
ways.
don't even list it in your sales books as a condominium.
But you do have the condo declaration, so which means I have to treat you as a condo, as a whole condo corporation. We have no other way as for the municipal act. We have to look under the condo act, and we have to make sure that everything at least we follow is correct.
And
So
you are saying that this is the only building in Winnipeg
that is
that
correct.
is like this?
That is correct. It's normally they all, in your circumstances, this is normally the apartment style. So, and that's where and it would not be, if you would be an apartment, it would be a totally different level and the value.
Right, and so
Unfortunately,
that would be
this is
my
something you can
reason
bring-
as to why you cannot compare us to sales of a regular condo. And you can see by the units that we are selling and the very difficult low prices that they're selling at. Yes, we would love to have the market value that you are trying to assess us for, but that's not the reality. And we've shown it. And for many, many years, I would say for the past 10 years since I've owned my unit, every time I've had to come back to the property assessed value and dispute it. And every time it has been lowered. And I don't understand why every time, like for the past 10 years, I've had to fight with this. And even to the point that we don't even get refunded for having to file our appeal anymore. This is costing us a lot of money. There's a lot of, this is all seniors in our building. They don't have the understanding to be able to fight this on their own behalf. Very difficult. And what we've seen over the number of years is nobody's even bothered to file an appeal. I am one of the few that filed an appeal for my unit, but because I was able to try and show the communication, and every time my price was lowered. And also when I put in the initial review for not only 1-bedroom units, but also 2-bedroom units, I assisted the people in my building for their case, and all of the 2-bedroom units were reduced by $10,000. Not one of the 1-bedroom units was reduced by $10,000 this year. And I don't understand why it would happen for the 2-bedroom units, but not the 1-bedroom units.
This is only because once we're reviewing the whole market once again, this is what we're doing. Back to why I cannot speak for what happened 10 years ago, or within this 10 years. I can only speak for the current, for 2023 assessment. And once again, based on what you're saying, we cannot value you as a unit and taking your sales to consideration only because they are not in simple interest. And as for the, in general, as per Assessment Act, the market value has to be with the fee simple interest, and you are not. So in this case, because you don't hold the freehold title, so which restricts you from it, and that's why we cannot use your sales. And freehold, and as I said before, the leasehold interest has way lower value than the fee simple interest, which we understand, but we cannot do anything about it because this is how the assessment.
To me, you're even giving my argument to say we're a fee simple, and so therefore we can't use our sales. But at the same time, why then can you use the outside regular condos as our comparable? If you can't even use our own sales as comparables, why can you use regular condos, which is a total different legal animal than what we are. Why would you compare us to them? Under what
That is
basis?
only due, that is because of, by the Condo Act, I'm taking you as a, because you still have you are a condo, you registered under the condo, you're not registered under the apartment. You registered under the condo. And I have to treat you under the Condo Act the same way as I treat every other condo. That is not, has nothing to do with what you have at this moment. It's a condo itself. And that's why your sales are not registered, because you have no fee, simple interest. I have to go elsewhere, continue trading you as a condo.
But you're comparing apples to oranges. You're not comparing the same.
I cannot go out of the Condo Act or any assessment act to treat you any other way. I'm sorry, I can't.
Okay, so thank you. I think we've gone over that point several times. Do you have any other questions for the assessor?
Well, not necessarily questions, but
Okay.
Just my points as to why a light lease is a
Okay,
different.
let's hold off that. I think the panel might have some questions, and then we'll get to your evidence, if that's okay. Mr. Belenky, do you have any questions of the assessor?
No questions.
Okay. Ms. Werhan?
None at this time, thank you.
Not at this time. Okay. Then the appellants can go forward with their evidence, and we'd like to hear what you have to say.
We talked about the fact that this is a light lease building, which is, in our opinion, not comparable to other regular condos. As a light lease building, also, the detriments and things that can affect the market value would be because the banks will not finance property that is not total title in the name of the owner. And life lease has both Donwood ink on the title and also the unit holder as title, but so the banks won't finance that then. So in order for a buyer to buy our units, generally they have to have 100% funds in order to purchase. It's a restricted market because, again, we're a 55 plus building, so it's age restricted, which limits our market for selling. I've mentioned again, our condo fees are excessively higher, and they do not include heat and hydro, whereas you're comparing us with somebody that has condo fees that is substantially lower, and it includes their heat and hydro. Our management company has also implemented in 2018, they implemented a 2% fee of selling price to be charged for all sales of units by new owners. This is a severely negative impact for our new purchasers. So this, again, would be a deterrent for anybody to want to buy our units because of that fee. Our selling prices also should be influenced by the fact of the parking, whether or not they have underground parking, surface parking, or no parking at all. I don't see the differentiation in our assessed values based on whether or not somebody has no parking as opposed to somebody with underground parking, heated underground parking, and that heated underground parking spaces also include a large storage unit. And that is not reflected in the differences between what is being assessed. Again, we stress that our units, and I've showed evidence that our units are being sold on the open market through MLS like anybody else, like all condos. And I've provided all of the comparative units that were sold in our building, and all of the details as to whether or not there's been upgrades or whether or not it includes what kind of parking it includes, and balconies, air conditioners. I've given you all that detail. I guess that is the extent of our presentation. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Ms. Kostarova, do you have any questions of the appellants?
I don't.
No questions? Okay. Ms. Werhan?
Yes, just one. Where do you feel your assessment should be at?
And here we're talking about Unit 305. Let's just be specific.
Unit 305.
Where do you think that your property should be assessed?
Where the going market is at the moment.
100 or 9? She's saying 119 or 120,000.
Any further questions? Mr. Belenky, do you have any questions?
I have no questions.
Okay, I just have a couple of questions. On page 5 of your presentation, you talk about or present selling prices. And I'm looking at specifically the 1-bedroom units, 503, 506, 706. Some of these talk about upgrades. Just wondering, are these comparable to the unit number 305?
Okay, the units that we showed as selling.
Yeah. Like if I'm looking at 305, unit 305, and I'm looking at these others, are they similar types of units? Do they have the same amenities? Do they have the same layouts? Square footage? I see square footage, so that's a little bit.
Okay,
that's similar.
Upgrades. These comparables show upgrades. So
okay.
That wants to know whether or not you've done any upgrades to your unit. Like
my unit is comparable to 506 and 706. They're both the same square footage, and I have not done any upgrades since I bought it 5 years ago.
Okay. And did it already have some of these things done?
No. In fact, I had to sort of redo the whole thing because I inherited it I bought it from an elderly couple who were not able to do anything in that unit. So it needed quite a bit of work. And I have not done anything since then.
So once you purchased it, you haven't done any work at all on it? No. Okay. Okay. That's all the questions I have too. So thank you very much, Ms. Lashley and Ms. Favel, for speaking on this property. And we'll now move to item 2 on our agenda. 1460 Portage Avenue, Unit 404. And I understand, Ms. Favel, that's you as well.
Yes, it is.
Okay. If you'd like to, or Ms. Kostarova, if you could please take us through the particulars of this property as well. And for the record, if you can highlight the comparables, just so that they're in the record, and you don't have to go in as much detail, but give us some background.
Okay, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
The subject roll number is 1208-015-1200. It's located at 1460 Portage Avenue, and this is a unit 404. The neighborhood of the area is West Bosley 226. This is the building style apartment condo. The year built is 1987. I would like to bring to your attention that after reviewing the evidence of the applicant, I have discovered that the bathroom was redone, and this is not longer the full bath, and some changes were done to the flooring too. So I would like to bring to your attention that effective year built has to be changed from 1987 to 1992. That is due to some renovations. So once again, the effective year built is not longer 1987, but is 1992. Thank you. The base floor, the unit is located on the 4th floor of the 8-story building, and the living area space is 799 square feet. It's interior location, which means it's no view of the Portage Avenue or any other negative influences from the noise. The bedroom count is 1. The full bath, once again, is not longer 1, but 0. That is due to the provided evidence. So once again, please cross it off 1 and place the 0 and the full bath. Half bath is now 1, and I have shower 1. So the renovations were done removing the full bathroom and replacing with the half bath and standing shower. It has the central air conditioning. It has the in-split laundry. Balcony is glazed, and it has none of the parking. It does not have the covered parking or indoor parking, neither outdoor parking. And the assessed value for 2023 is at $136,000, which brings the total assessed value per square foot at $170.21. Once again, my comparables are located at 2 condo complexes, and I'm putting most weight at the condo complex at 261 Queen Street, which I think it's due to its location closer to the Polo Park and very close to our subject. You could review that on a map as well, provided in my evidence. And it has very similar street accessibility as well. It has the accessibility in the unit, in the condo complex itself for the age limits. And the year built for all my comparables range between the 1969 to 1972. It is the building style, they're all apartments. And the effective year built is between 1969 to 1987. The living area space range between 692 to 884. Bedroom count is range between 1 to 2 bedrooms. All units have 1 full bath. They all have the wall air conditioning, and none of the units have the fireplace. All units in my comparables have the shared laundry, which will be considered as inferior to our subject. They all have open balconies and not glazed. And all the units have the outdoor parking, and the sale price ranges between $124 to $160. The sale price per square foot ranges between $179.19 to $205.23. I strongly believe that $136 for our subject of assessment value is very well supported, or the total of $170.21 per square foot. It comes up for the $799 for the living area. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Favell, do you have any questions of the assessor's evidence?
I guess I don't know what you're meaning about the year built being changed to 1992 as opposed to 1987?
Yes, so 1997 is original year built. Once people started doing some renovations, remodeling, and major renovations such as kitchens, such as replacing all the floorings in the windows and go on, including the bathroom, we do change the effective year built. So you actually, it's not depreciating, you kind of pick up. So that is one of the
and do all of your comparables say whether or not they've been upgraded?
Yes, as you could see, that's why normally when I'm stating in my evidence that the year built, you could see the comparable number 1, the comparable number 2, comparable 3, 4, and they actually all except the 6 have been remodeled. So only 6 in a 32,000 portage is original.
So yeah, again, I don't understand. They've been remodeled. All the comparables have been remodeled.
Except the comparables.
And you're saying that because my unit had a shower to replace the bathtub,
You've
that
done some
mine is now
renovations.
exact. Other than that, it was laminate flooring. Take out the old carpet and put in laminate flooring is what we get. Okay, it's cleaner, it's safer.
Right, and that's why when we asked.
But that changes mine to 1992 update.
Yes, that is correct, but the value stays the same.
But the rest of them have been remodeled. Your comparables have all been remodeled and they don't have a 1992 update.
No,
I
but
don't
your
understand.
effective year built is actually way younger. So your complex itself is way younger. And once again, in order to support my assessed value, I had to go and look somewhere close to. So I decided to go for the little older units. This way the value is lower and supports your assessed value.
Okay, I just don't understand that. But
I'm sorry.
that's what you're saying.
Do you have any further questions?
I guess what the view feature on 404, you're saying there's none. Is that like the rest of them? They say traffic medium, parking lot.
Right, it all depends how close it's adjacent to it. So yours is facing west, sorry, and the ones who are facing the east, they are all portage.
Face Portage Avenue.
But not to the most adjacent. So you can see it from the side, but it's not adjacent to it.
Well, and
that's
the trees
more
are
for
all
you.
the trees are all in the way, so you don't have a view much. Other than what I had discussed previously with Unit 305, I don't have any further questions.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Belenky, do you have any questions of the assessor's evidence?
I have no questions of the assessor.
Thank you. Ms. Werhan?
None at this time, thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Favell, you can begin with your evidence, please.
Do I need to go through it all again because it's exactly the same as what I put forward?
Yeah, I think for the record, it's important to have information about your particular property. If you'd like to highlight some of that previous information, but speak about your property in particular, that would be wonderful.
The reasons for that I believe we need a lower market value is that this is a life lease building. We do not have full title to the property. The property is in the name of the management company and the unit owner. The assessor has compared us to the building at 3200 Portage Avenue, which is not a life lease building. Therefore, the purchaser has full title to the property. As a life lease building, banks will not finance because we are not the only name on the title of the property. Therefore, buyers are limited to only purchasers who have 100% funds. We are a restricted market for resale because it is a 55+ building. Our condo fees are high compared to other condo buildings. And the comparable buildings that you compared us to, their condo, I currently pay $521 a month for a 1-bedroom condo. And for the comparables at 3200 Portage, the condo fee was $300 a month. And that included heat and hydro, whereas ours does not include heat and hydro, which is a severe financial impact to people buying. On November 19th, 2018, our management company, Donwood, implemented a 2% fee of selling price to be charged for all sales of units by new owners. This is a severely negative impact for any new purchasers. So again, limiting our marketability. Our selling price variances are influenced if the unit has no parking, surface parking, or underground heated parking, which the underground heated parking is the only one that includes a storage unit as well. My unit number 404 has no parking at all. The assessor said that they would not use sales in our building as comparables because they were not open market sales. However, we sell our units through the open market using realtors and listing on MLS just like any other open market. And I've provided a newspaper clipping of something that's more current, but it's July 2nd, 2022, our building, half page of newspaper saying that the asking price was $99,900 and it sold for $92,500. Square footage, 840 square feet, which is larger than my unit, which is $799. And 1 bedroom, and it was listed by a listing agent and sold by a selling agent. I also provided a copy of a memo from our management company that showed all of the sales in our building over the last couple of years. So I'm being open and disclosing all units that were sold, and I've given a copy of the details of all of the units that were sold, the 1-bedroom units, prior to the assessment date of April 1st, 2021. I have subsequent sales, but I understand you won't look at those anyways. But again, all of them show that the price range of selling a 1-bedroom unit in our building was between $90,000 and $115,000. And the only one that sold at $115,000 was the unit that had the underground indoor parking. All of the units as well that I've given the detailed listings of provide you with all of the upgrades that were done to each of the units, so that you've got comparables. So you can see that my unit was, yes, I had a shower and the flooring done, but my kitchen was not upgraded, and some of the comparables show that, oh yes, and that air conditioning, that my unit only has a wall air conditioner. I wasn't sure what you said about mine being a full air conditioning.
No, they wall here.
It's just a wall air conditioner. Okay. Yes, and yes, I have an enclosed balcony, but no surface parking at all. I think that's all.
Okay, thank you very much. Ms. Kostarova, do you have any questions?
Only the question I will have is, so this is not your primary own residence, is that correct?
I rent it.
You're renting, and you have underground parking for the other, so that's how you're sharing this parking? That's why this specifically this unit does not have a parking?
Right. What do you mean? Sure.
So you're sharing this, your other parking with this unit?
Yes, I also live in the building. Right. I'm renting it, but I rent 404. I live in 408.
Yes.
And I have
an
underground indoor parking.
So the person who is using this specific unit right now, which parking are they using?
The ones that are in 404?
Right.
Yeah, I'm sharing with them. I share
That's
car
only-
share with them.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, but that's of no benefit, like,
No,
if I
just
had to
ask
sell
them.
this unit, I have to sell it with no parking, okay?
Any additional questions?
No, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Belenky,
I have no questions.
thank you. Ms. Werhan?
No questions.
I just have a question I'd like to actually go back to the assessor on. Ms. Kosterova, the applicant has submitted selling prices for 3 units in the building. Do you have any comment on those?
Unfortunately, I cannot comment on those only because we can review the sale prices once again due to it's not fee simple interest.
And because-
for that reason, I cannot use them for the assessment purposes.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much.
And sorry, can I just add that once again in my presentation before I did stated that I cannot speak for the assessor. Your condo complex is on the open market because it is selling through the MLS and it's obviously listed and selling. And this is feature you don't lose because we do value with the on the open market, but the market value for us, it's open plus fee simple interest. So you have the open market, but you don't have the fee simple interest. And that's why the whole picture of the market value, it cannot be used in your case for of your sales in under complex.
I'm sorry, I just don't comprehend that.
Okay, I think that concludes item number 2 on our agenda. We'll now move to item number 3 on our agenda. 1460 Portage Avenue, Unit 405.
Before you take a seat, I will just affirm you.
Matilda Maria Pine.
You affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you. You can be seated.
Thank you and welcome.
Just 141.
141.
Okay, Ms. Kosterova, if you could please take us through this property.
Thank you. The file number is 22311. The roll number for the subject is 12080151600. The condo number is 297. The address for this unit is 1460 Portage Avenue, and we are reviewing the unit number 405. The neighborhood is the West Woodley at 226. This is the building style, an apartment condo. The year built is 1987. The effective year built is 1992. The unit is located on the 4th floor of the 8-story building. The living area is 841 square foot. This is a 1 bedroom and it has 1 full bath. It has the wall unit air conditioning. It has the in-suite laundry. The balcony is well glazed. And it has 1 outdoor parking. It has the assessed value, current 2023 at $141,000, or it brings to the total of $167.66 per square foot. Once again, all the comparables from 1 to 8, the condo units, and they are inferior due to no amenities in none of those comparables. And I would like to once again bring to your attention that we are reviewing we're basing our assessed values on the market value, which will be considered of the it has to include the open market, which we do have for the subject, but we don't have the fee simple title. it has to be unrestricted. In this case, it is a restricted, which means they don't have the full rights of the ownership. And in this case, we could not use the sales from the same condo complex, and we had to look elsewhere. So I did use the lower market values. I tried to be fair, and the lowest market values obviously would be showing on no amenities or the limited amenities as possible. And I would be more putting my weight on the comparables from 1 to 4, which is located on the condo number 80. And the street is 261 Queen Street. And just to quickly go over the comparables, it's the building style is an apartment condo. The neighborhoods in the residential market of St. James. And they do have the King Edward and the Kirkfield. The year built range between 1969 to 1972. The effective year built is 1969 to 1987. And none of the units are located on the top floor, which would be more desirable. The living area ranges between 692 to 884 square feet. The bedroom count is ranges between 1 to 2 bedrooms. All units have only 1 full bath. They all have the wall unit air conditioning. None of them have the fireplace. And none of the units have the in-suite laundry, which is the inferior to our subject. They all have open a balcony, and which is once again we'll consider as the inferior to our subject. All units have the outdoor parking stalls as well as our subject. And the sale prices ranges between 124,000 to 160,000, which brings our per square foot sale price between $179.19 to $205.23. I strongly believe that 141,000 or $167.60 per square foot very well supports our asset value. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Fine or Ms. Favel, do you have any questions of the assessor's evidence? I realize that some of this is been presented before, but are there anything additional that you might like to ask?
I found the assessments too high, 141,000. And I think if you look at, they had no additional things done to our condo. It's still the same, in the same state as we had it before, as we bought it. And other than that, I feel 141 in comparison to the 2-bedroom. There's an indoor parking sold for 140. And here I am with my 1-bedroom and outside parking, and it is 141 assessed. So I really feel that it's too high.
Thank you. Ms. Werhan, do you have any questions of the assessor's evidence?
I'm not at this time, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Belenky?
No questions.
Thank you. And I have no questions. So Ms. Fine or Ms. Favel, would you like to present any evidence, please?
Okay. We'll go through the same.
Yeah, if you can just highlight it. It doesn't need to be in as much detail, but just to make sure that we have it for the record.
Okay, again, we disagree that we should be compared to a regular condo because ours is a light lease building. Financing of a light lease purchase is difficult because the banks won't give a mortgage on it. There's a restricted market for our selling of our units because we're a 55 plus building. Our condo fees are higher than regular condos, or at least definitely higher than the condo fees in the comparable buildings. Our management has implemented a 2% selling fee to be charged to all sales of units by new owners. They implemented that in 2018, which would severely have a negative impact on any new purchasers. Our selling price variances are influenced if the unit has what kind of parking the unit has, either no parking, surface parking, or underground indoor parking, which has a storage unit attached to it, but only for the underground indoor parking. We were told that we had to have our sales compared to the regular condos, and that because they will not consider our sales as being an open market sales. And we sell our units on the MLS like everybody else. And over this past year or so, we've had as much as 6 for sale signs on our front lawn. I've provided comparative information of the 1-bedroom sales over the last 2 years, or well, up until April 1st, 2021. And showing as well the detail as to the improvements or any upgrades that were made to the units. And also comparing whether the parking, balcony, enclosed or not enclosed, air conditioning, what type. We also included photocopies of each of our units as well. And we provided a full listing of all of the units that were sold by our management company, seeing as how you do not have our condo sales listed in your sales book.
Okay, thank you very much. Ms. Kostarova, do you have any questions?
I don't, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Belenky?
No questions.
Thank you. Ms. Werhan?
No questions.
Okay, thank you. I have no questions either, so thank you very much for your presentation on Unit 405, 1460 Portage Avenue. And we'll now move to item number 4 on our agenda, Unit 701, 1460 Portage Avenue.
Please put your full name.
Rosie Infantino.
You affirm that the evidence you will give this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you. You can be seated.
Thank you and welcome, Ms. Infantino.
Good morning.
Ms. Assessor, if you could please start us through this property.
Thank you. This is file 22833 and the subject roll number 1208154200. The condo number is 297 and it's located at 1460 Portage Avenue, unit 701. This is neighborhood of the West Woolsey, and this is the apartment style condo. The year built is 1987. As far as we know that it's original, so the effective year built has not changed and it states at 1997. Base floor of which is a unit located on the 7th floor of the 8th floor building. Living area is 1,037 square feet. This is the 2-bedroom unit, and it has one full bath. It has the in-suite laundry and glazed balcony. It has one indoor parking stall, and it's the view features heavy traffic, which faces Portage as well as the railway. The assessed value of the subject is at $166,000. The total assessed value per square foot is coming up to $160.08. In this case, I'm presenting you only 4 comparables. That is just due to the larger size of the unit, as well as it's only 2 bedrooms I will be presenting in my evidence. I'm taking my comparables from the the same condo complexes which I already used for the previous units from the same complex. And they one is located on 261 Queen Street. It's neighborhood of King Edward, and the comparable number 3 and 4 are located at 32,000 Portage, which is with the neighborhood of Kirkfield. They are all apartment condominium style, and year built is ranging from 1969 to 1972. The effective year built is ranging from 1969 to 1987. The only comparable second comp 2 is located on the top floor of the 7th floor building, which would be the most superior rental subject. They all have 2 bedrooms. They all have 1 full bath. And they all have the wall unit air conditioning, which our subject does not have, which brings all our comparables from 1 to 4 slightly superior than to our subject. None of the comparables have the laundry, the in-suite laundry, which will be considered as inferior to our subject. They all have open balconies, and they all have the outdoor parking stalls. They all facing the medium traffics or the heavy traffics as a feature. The range of the comparables range between sale prices between 160,000 to 177,000. The sale price per square foot ranges between $171.43 to $187.78. I do believe that $166,000 for $160.08 per square foot is very well supports the 2023 assessed value. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kostarova. Miss, sorry, I'm going to mangle your name, and I don't mean to. Ms. Infantino, can you please, do you have any questions for the assessor?
I don't.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Belenky?
I have no questions.
Thank you. Ms. Werhan?
No questions.
Thank you very much. And Ms. Infantino, then, if you would like to begin your presentation.
Certainly. As the previous 3 are from the same building, it's much the same. So the restrictions on our market, being that, banking isn't as easy, or financing isn't as easy. You have to pay up front. The restrictions of a 55 plus building, our condo fees are considerably high. The 2% selling fee that we have to, or the owners that come in have to pay to buy into the building. All of our sales are on MLS. I understand that you're saying that there is no other life lease building to compare to. So in that factor, I see it as a hindrance for us to be trying to sell in that same market, in that same price range. So our sales are almost always lower because of that. So what was explained to me, I found out after my deadline of handing in information, was the difference between a life lease and a regular condo is that in the life lease, you don't like in a condo, you own parts of your hallway and your community space, all those amenities, whereas in a life lease, you don't. So there's not that extra ownage of the different parts of the building. So because of these restrictions, having a higher property tax just adds to the restrictions of I should clarify, I'm representing my mother. So it just adds to another restriction of them trying to sell their unit, whether they're selling because they're going into a PCH or because they've passed on. These are things that have to be considered because these are, first of all, the majority are retired seniors living on a fixed income. So it's very difficult to turn around and have to pay that type of value on something that isn't valued at that because of that extra restriction. I mean, we already have all these other restrictions on the property for selling values, and then we're not even allowed to compare to what is actually happening in our own building. And I did send you evaluations on 2-bedroom units in the building. 2 of the 3 are mirrored to my mother's unit. So she faces east, so she does have Portage Avenue and the rail line. The others face west. And it's a matter of, they both have park, like they're all the same, except for that air-conditioned unit. So just to sum it up, because we have heard it 3 times before, I'll keep it at that.
Thank you very much. Ms. Kosterova, do you have any questions of the appellant? Oh, can you speak up? No questions?
I don't.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Belenky?
Yeah, I have a question, actually. I'd like to know, with the situation of yours and the others in the apartment condo, being so unique, has there been any kind of concerted effort to go back to the source to determine how your situations can be more properly compared?
That's a good question.
Like it's like going back to legislation, or whatever rules and regulations that the assessment branch is using to address your values.
That is a good question. Unfortunately, as not being the primary dweller, I don't know the ins and outs of what the condo board has done or the community that's living inside the building has done to address the matter.
Yeah, because it sounds like it's been gone on for a number of years, as one of the appellants had said. So this has been ongoing. Everybody's living with it, but nobody's sort of taking that extra step to, as opposed to rifling each place, as opposed to looking at it as a whole.
As a whole, and I don't know if that's because I don't know this information, but I don't know if that's a city looking at the building and saying you need to reassess this, or is it the condo board saying we need to reassess it? I don't know that answer, so that's something that I can address with my mom and tell her to bring to the condo board.
Sure. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Belenky. Ms. Warhan, do you have any questions?
None, thank you.
None. Okay. Okay, thank you. That concludes item number 4 on our agenda.
Okay,
Thank you very much for your presentation. And I think we're just going to take a 5 to 10 minute break if we could. Get reorganized for the next set of properties. Thank you. I'd like to just call this meeting back to order. We're now dealing with item number 6 on our agenda. No civic address, but we've got St. Matthews Avenue. Ms. Wright, when you're ready, you can start us off.
Thank you. The subject property is roll number 0700192000. This is a piece of vacant land on St. Matthews Avenue, which is located in the King Edward neighborhood. It has R1M zoning. The lot size is 11,482 square feet. This property has a commercial adjacent, an external corner, and a light traffic influence. The current 2023 assessment is $120,000, which works out to $10.45 per square foot. I have 4 comparable properties here that are all vacant land with residential zoning in the King Edward neighborhood. The lot size is quite a bit smaller. It ranges from 2,396 square feet to 4,060 square feet. Comparable 3 has a medium traffic influence and comparable 4 has a light traffic influence. The sale price for these comparable properties ranged from $100,000 to $120,000, time adjusted to $100,200 to $120,000, and this gives us a time adjusted price per square foot range of $29.06 to $50.08. So I feel that based on these 4 comparable properties, the current subject assessment of $120,000 is supported by market evidence. Thank you.
Thank you. And before we begin, I apologize. I didn't ask for the appellant to be sworn in. So we need to look after that first.
And applicant, please state your full name.
Sarah Cates?
You confirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
You may be seated.
And my apologies again. And sorry, could you repeat your name? It's hard to hear on Zoom.
Sarah Cates?
Cates? Okay, thank you. Ms. Cates, do you have any questions of the assessor?
I don't, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Belenky?
No questions.
Ms. Werhan?
No questions.
Okay, I have a question, Ms. Wright. All of your properties, your comparables are quite a bit smaller than the subject property. Yeah. Can you explain why you chose those properties and what impact the lot size would have on the value?
Yeah, so the reason for selecting these properties was these were actually basically what I could find for vacant residential sales in that neighborhood. A residential lot, I would say probably especially in that area of over 11,000 square feet. Lot sizes that large aren't that common. So unfortunately, we don't have really many sales. I would say obviously a larger lot would have more value, but we do typically find if you look at the price per square foot, as a lot gets larger, usually the sale price per square foot will kind of decrease. So yeah, that was the reason for the selection of my comparables, was just that I could not find sales of properties that were as large as the subject property.
And also, there's several land influences on your subject property. On your comps, there's no land influences noted for 1 and 2, and only medium and light traffic on 3 and 4. Yeah. What impact do those land influences have?
So these influences in particular, the commercial, the corner, and the light traffic, they would all have a negative impact on value, which I believe is accounted for if you look at the price per square foot. The subject is at $10.45. And the lowest time adjusted comparable is at just over $29. So yes, those influences do have a negative impact, and we are accounting for that with our value.
I guess it's kind of moot to ask this because obviously you didn't look to other areas of the city to see if you could find something kind of similar.
Yeah, I made the decision to stay within that neighborhood just because there were sales. In particular, my comparable 4, if you look at the map for that one, I know it is smaller. It only has the one negative influence, but it is fairly close to the subject property.
Okay.
So I decided to stay within the neighborhood for my comparables.
Okay. And I note they all have the same zoning, so that's a good thing. Okay. Thank you very much. Those are my questions. Madame Appellant, you can go ahead with your presentation, please.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to request a confirmation of the assessment per section 54.1 of the Municipal Act. The reason for the request is that this particular parcel is used as parking for the main roll. So when we deal with the main roll, we're going to request that the value of this assessment be removed from the main roll. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Wright, any comments?
No questions or comments.
Okay. Mr. Belenky,
No questions.
Ms. Werhan?
No questions.
Okay. And thank you very much. I have no questions either. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll now move on to property number 8 on our docket, 3127 Ness Avenue. Before we begin, we'll remember to swear in the appellant. Thank you very much. Welcome, Ms. Johnson.
Hi.
We'll start with the assessor reading in this property information and telling us her evidence.
Thank you. The subject property is roll number 07436190000. This is 3127 Ness Avenue, which is a one-story house located in the Heritage Park neighborhood. The year built and effective year built are 1964. The living area is 1,047 square feet. There is a basement with basement finish. There is one full bathroom, one half bathroom, and one shower. There is central air conditioning, no fireplace, and a single car detached garage. The lot size is 4,993 square feet, and it's located on a bus route with heavy traffic and near a bus stop. The current 2023 assessment is $218,000, which gives us an assessment per square foot of $208.21. I have 4 comparable properties here that are all 1-stories or bi-level style houses. I did select all of my comparables on Ness Avenue because it is a heavy traffic street. I believe that would have an effect on market values. So I did select all comparables on Ness, but they were in a few different neighborhoods. So I have comparable 1 in Crestview, comparable 2 in Silver Heights, comparable 3 in Booth, and then comparable 4 in Heritage Park. But if you refer to the map I've provided, despite being in these different neighborhoods, they actually aren't too far apart, and they are all on Ness Avenue. The year built and effective year built for these comparables ranges from 1955 to 1967. The living area ranges from 936 square feet to 1,065 square feet. All have full basements with some finish. Comparables 1 and 2 have partial basement finish, and comparables 3 and 4 have full basement finish. The bathroom count ranges from 1 to 2. All comparables have central air conditioning. Comparable number 3 has a fireplace, and comparables 2, 3, and 4 have detached garages. The lot size for these properties ranges from 5,481 square feet to 5,995 square feet. As I've said, they're all located on Ness Avenue, so they all have that heavy traffic bus route influence. And then also comparable 1 is located near a bus stop on an internal corner, and comparable 3 is near a school. The sale price for these properties range from $232,000 to $291,000. Time adjusted sale price ranges from $255,900 to $302,900, which gives us a time adjusted price per square foot from $246.06 to $297.86. So the most recent contact we did have with the homeowner of this property was back in 2019. Some photos were submitted for that previous assessment for 2020. And at that time, it was brought to our attention that there are some issues with the house. So we do have a fair or a below average condition on the property, as well as we changed the basement finish from an average to a low quality. So that's the reason the assessment is actually lower than these comparable properties. I did look for properties that were less renovated. Many of my comparables are actually fairly original. So I did look at the lower end of the sale prices. And then with that fair condition that we have on the property, it is accounting for issues that we're aware of. And that's why the assessment of $218,000 is actually less than any of the comparables. So based on that, I feel that we are accounting for issues and that the current assessment is somewhat supported by this market evidence. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wright. Ms. Johnson, do you have any questions of the assessor?
No.
Thank you. Mr. Belenky,
No questions.
Ms. Warhan?
No questions.
Okay, and I have no questions. So Ms. Johnson, you can begin your presentation.
Yeah, so I did send my stuff electronically where I have estimates from foundation companies, and 2 showed up. The other 2, it was a bad winter apparently for foundations in Winnipeg, and I was able to get 2, and they have told me that they probably can't even come back this year. The basement took out, this was unbelievable what it did to the foundation now. And now I'm like, it needs to get fixed. I don't know if you can tell in the pictures, it's really bad. The basement will no longer be a full finished basement. All the walls, the foundation people they don't do interior. They basically fix the outside. So I have to get the rec room. It's a 40-foot wall that's either drywall or what do you call it? Anyways, they're all finished walls. It's they all have to come down. The bathroom will be gone in half bath because that's part of that 40-foot wall. The laundry room, it's a paneling and drywall. So it's all paint. But there's one crack that you were able to see, that the foundation people could see, and they said it goes based on the water that came in. Like I had water, a stream of water going to my sewer. They said they need to brace the 40-foot wall because it's starting to buckle in. And, I'm looking at quite significant repairs. They also suggest I get an engineer's report, and these estimates are based on only what they could see and what I told them. Once we start taking things apart, there's no way of knowing. It could be probably over $30,000 worth of repairs to the foundation. So, and I'm trying to get those people to come back, but they can't guarantee me they'll even come back before it snows again, before the ground. So they're going to let me know kind of in advance so I can have these walls down. And the engineer's report, I suppose I can get that. The walls down, I don't know if he needs to see. There's just so many things unknown, and until I can get them to come back and actually do the work. Like they said, these estimates are only based on what they could see and what I told them, until they can actually, there was one crack under the stairwell, you could see the actual foundation, and then after that, it's all behind drywall now. So I just have this unknown care bill that, and I don't know, these other houses, they may have lovely basements, I don't know. On the outside, I drove by them, they're very nice. I don't know if their basement has issues either, but I know mine is. The foundation guys are like, this is bad. So I just don't, until I can get this all fixed up, hopefully this year, but they're probably saying not. So I'm going to have another winter or spring where I don't know how much more damage to get done.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Wright, do you have any questions?
So the photos that I can see here of the basement, that's currently how the basement looks. So you had some water come in, obviously there was water damage. So as of right now, basically that's how it is, and you're just holding off until you can get these foundation people in to fix. Is that?
Yeah. Like these outside wall cracks were not there last year.
Okay.
See the stucco cracks? that wasn't like that just whatever happened over the winter and the spring. And because these guys are inundated with foundation repairs, I mean, I know I'm not the only one, but this was unbelievable. I just felt like a PTSD when you wake up in the night, just run down the basement and start mopping up. But yeah, I don't know.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Mr. Belenky, do you have any questions?
Yes, the photos indicate the as of today condition. You've done no reparation as far as the interior, or tried to.
I want to see. I'm trying to get. They know that they're like they said that has to come down, but I would like to know when they're showing up before I have a basement that's half finished. The bathroom will be gone. And, yeah, I'm just we're kind of working on a timeline here that is still unknown.
So you're right now have no start date when you're going to start, I'll say, dismantling the damaged portion of your basement.
Not yet, not currently, no. I could, like, if the surgeon comes back and says, hey, we can be there November 1st, then I would start getting some. I don't think it takes long to take the walls down. It's just paneling. And then I'm sure, I don't even know what kind of mold is in behind those walls. It's probably not going to be good.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah. So to get the walls down, get it cleaned up. Well, get the walls braced, and then get it all cleaned up before I put paneling and drywall back on.
I suppose if I could ask a question of the assessor, now that I've seen and looked at the elements.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
As far as has there been an inspection or at least a meeting with the appellant to perhaps follow up with the condition of the home and the circumstances?
So at this point, the last contact we had was in 2019, and that's when we were aware there were issues at that point. So that's what I spoke to with we put a fair condition on the house. We did put the basement finish at low quality at that point. But now hearing that, I mean, it sounds like things have gotten worse. So I mean, definitely when there are changes, so even though we have the basement finish at low quality and we have that bathroom in there, once those are removed, we can definitely always update our records and be in touch with the owner and just update that, okay, the basement's not finished anymore, that bathroom is gone, and we can always reassess when changes like that are made.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
You've heard the answer, so there might be some action on your part perhaps to pursue this.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Apparently it was the freezing, the thawing. Like I had moisture problems, but it was always controlled. This was out of control.
Yeah, understandable with the weather we've had. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Belenky. Ms. Warhan, do you have any questions?
No, my question was just answered. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, and I have no additional questions either. So I think that's it for this property. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
And we'll now move to 134 Kane Avenue, number 9 on our docket.
We have no applicant present for that item.
Okay, that's fine then. Well, then item number 9, file number 22-703, roll number 0706-1844-000 will be moved to the end of the docket. Okay, number 8, 2842 Assiniboine, please.
Please state your full name.
Bob Cunningham.
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
And you can be seated.
Thank you and welcome, Mr. Cunningham.
Thank you.
Ms. Wright, if you could take us through this property, 2842 Assiniboine Avenue.
Thank you. The subject property is roll number 0707-0542-000. This is 2842 Assiniboine Avenue. It is a one-story house located in the Woodhaven neighborhood. The year built and effective year built are 2003. The living area is 4,339 square feet. It has a full part area basement with no basement finish. There are 2 full bathrooms, 1 half bathroom, and 1 shower. There is central air conditioning, 1 fireplace. There is an attached garage as well as a detached garage. The lot size is 37,455 square feet, and it is located adjacent to the Assiniboine River. The 2023 assessment is $1,566,000, which is $360.91 per square foot. I do have 4 comparable properties here. While I was searching for comparables, I put the most weight on the type of house and the location near the river. So I was searching in the same general area for one-story houses located on the Assiniboine River. So I do have 4 one-story houses located in Woodhaven, Westwood. And then for the 4th comparable, I had to go across the river to Southboyne, but it is located fairly close to these properties, just on the other side of the river. The year built for these properties ranges from 1944 to 2001. The effective year built ranges from 1980 to 2014. The living area, these properties are all, unfortunately, quite a bit smaller than the subject property. I was having difficulty finding one-stories on the river within that same size range as the subject. So the comparable range is from 1,580 square feet to 2,757 square feet. And then another difference that I was finding is all of these comparable properties do have walkout basements with basement finish. Again, unfortunately, any sales of one-stories I could find on the river all seem to have these walkout basements. So that is something to consider when looking at these sales. The bathroom count for these properties range from 3 to 3.5. All have central air conditioning. All comparables have at least 1 fireplace. Comparable 1 has 3 and comparable 4 has 2 fireplaces. All have attached garages. Comparables 1 and 4 do have in-ground pools. The lot size for these properties range from 9,828 square feet to 24,750 square feet. And then so the sale price range on these properties range from $790,000 to $1,270,000. This has been time adjusted to $850,000 to $1,418,600. And this gives us a time adjusted price per square foot range from $311.13 to $599.49. So as I've kind of gone over it, it is difficult to find comparable sales for this property. It is fairly unique in that it's fairly large. It is newer than many of the properties that I could find in the neighborhood that have recently sold, and being located on the river. It did make it challenging to find comparables, but I feel that based on these 4 comparables I've presented, the current assessment is somewhat within the range of market evidence. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wright. Mr. Cunningham, do you have any questions of the assessor's evidence?
I just have 2 that my wife just recently passed away, and I couldn't find a particular file. And I was just wondering if you could tell me what the previous assessment was. I did see it, but I can't find the file.
Yeah, I have it here actually. It was $1,188,000.
1 million? I'm sorry?
It was $1,188,000. That was the previous assessment.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Cunningham, do you have any additional questions?
No, save for my comments.
Thank you. Mr. Belenky, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Ms. Werhun, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Okay, I just have a question, and again, it's about your comp 4. I'm looking at your map. Sorry, I'm trying to do too many things here. Oops, and now my view is really mucked up. So give me a second. Okay, subject. Comp 4 is quite a bit further away, right? That's the one on the other side.
Yeah. So it is, I mean, it would be considered more in the Charleswood area because it's on the other side of the river there. I just wanted to include it because it was difficult to find sales of 1-stories on the river. So I thought it would include that 4th sale.
Right. So of these, what do you think is your best comparison? And I know they're difficult.
Yeah. I would say
somewhat unique properties, right?
Yeah. I would say comparable number 1. It is the closest in location. So it's just several properties down, but it isn't too far away from the subject property. I mean, obviously it's quite a bit smaller. It is the largest of my comparables, but it is still quite a bit smaller than the subject. And it does have that walkout basement that I was referring to. The one thing that I would say would make this property more similar is it had a fairly large addition built in around, I believe it was 2004, 2005. So around the time that the subject property was built, this property actually had a large addition added onto it. And it still is a difficult comparison, but for those reasons, I would think that comparable 1 is likely the most similar to the subject.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Mr. Cunningham, you can begin your presentation, please.
Sure. Well, first of all, when we bought our property in around 2000, we bought it on a weekend, and they had a white picket fence in front of the home, so it was about 100 feet long. And when we made the deal on the Sunday, and there was an older home on it that was built in 1938. My wife had osteoporosis, and I was looking for some property to build a building which would be like a 1-story, and she wouldn't have any stairs. And so we bought this property. When we called the surveyor to come in and mark the property, it turned out to be quite a bit larger, and larger sometimes is beautiful, but not necessarily always. To own a property like that is very costly to operate, and especially if you like we're proud people and we wanted to have a good street presence. So we worked very hard to utilize as much of the property as possible. But in the area that we're in, it's very difficult because first of all, we have mud back lanes and gravel back lanes, and our street isn't kept up. It's the paving is not very good. My neighbor next door, they get flooding in their yard every year, which and it floods into our yard a little bit. So we're always repairing and cleaning, and then in the spring we have to. I sent some pictures in so that you could see the work that we do in order to try and maintain our properties. You can see the one, and I'm sorry I didn't number the pictures, but there's one there with a blue hose.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Water out of the yard and so on. Go ahead.
Nope, that's okay. Carry on.
And you'll see gentlemen across the street. That's right across from my driveway, digging out the sewer so that we can get rid of the water.
Actually, I do need to stop you. Sorry, I've just a little bit lost my place. We were asking questions of the assessor, I think.
I am.
Right?
But I did. I just had the two questions. I'm sorry.
Okay, right. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead. And I'm sorry, panel, did you have an opportunity to ask questions?
I declined.
Pardon me?
I declined.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I just lost my spot a little bit. I'm looking at the wrong document and I'm listening to the appellant, so I'm doing two things here. So carry on, Mr. Cunningham.
Yeah, well, I in my letter to the assessment department here, I did say that I felt the increase in the assessment was extremely high. We've just come through a time in our history, and not we'd all have to say that we haven't had this for a long time, and that is where people are bidding on homes, and so the prices are somewhat higher. I'm not planning on selling my home at this particular time, so with the interest rates going up, the sales are starting to drop back, and the prices are starting to drop back. So I just feel that it's unfair to have that type of an increase. The young lady, the assessor, comparison number one, yes, the person did made a pretty darn good deal in getting that price. However, a walkout basement pretty well gives you the 2 floors of space to enjoy, whereas mine is I have a basement, but I have an exercise room and stuff like that. But it's not a place that you really spend a lot of time in. You do your living upstairs. I built a larger home for 2 reasons. Number one, because I felt that being on a large piece of property like that, it would only be fair to the property to build a little bit bigger home. But secondly, I would say 99%. The reason was because of my wife's health, and the doctors didn't want her walking on the street, so I built a longer home so that she could walk up and down the hallways. When you build a home like that, you do end up with a little bit of wasted space, but that's okay. It was our choice, my choice, and so I just felt that it was unfair to raise the assessment the way that you have.
Thank you, Mr. Cunningham. Ms. Wright, do you have any questions of Mr. Cunningham?
Yeah, my only question is, what assessment do you feel would be reasonable?
Well, I guess if you had the assessment in front of you and the taxes in front of you, it would be a little easier to understand. But I just felt that I said that I would be. I think I said right here, I am prepared to accept a smaller increase, but the number suggested does not make any sense to me. And so I'm not, I don't think we're sitting here trying to make deals so much as I would just like to be treated fairly.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And
Mr. Blanky, pardon me?
I'm not saying the assessor was trying to do it fairly.
Mr. Belenky, do you have any questions?
I have no questions.
Ms. Werhan, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Okay, and I have no questions either. So thank you very much, Mr. Cunningham.
The assessor asked me what I thought was fair, and I didn't answer. I don't know how to answer that question, because when we have the assessment sent to us, we don't really know what the taxes are going to be, but I'm quite prepared to be comfortable with a small increase. If it went up to say 1.250, I don't know. I would think that would be fair.
Okay, thank you very much. And that concludes our hearing on item number 12, 2842 Assiniboine Avenue. You're free to go, Mr. Cunningham. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. We'll now move to item number 13, 98 Hunt Avenue.
There is no applicant present for this property.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we're just going to have a short recess now to deliberate with respect to the items for which no applicants are attending. So if you can just give us a few minutes, Ms. Wright, we'll connect with you in a sec. Thank you. I call the meeting back to order. The board has deliberated and will proceed with the remaining items in the absence of the applicants. So Ms. Wright, I'll ask you to read for the public record the information and about the subject property and the comparable properties and why they're supporting that assessment. Okay?
Basically,
thank you.
Presentation then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll start with 98 Hunt Avenue.
So I'll just go back to that one. Okay. The subject property is roll number 14096080400. This is 98 Hunt Avenue, which is a one-story house located in Tyndall Park. The year built and effective year built is 1998. The living area is 1,590 square feet. There's a full basement with no basement finish, one full bathroom, one half bathroom, and one shower. There is central air conditioning, no fireplace, and a multiple car attached garage. The lot size is 4,499 square feet, and the 2023 assessment is $393,000, which is $247.17 per square foot. I have 4 comparable properties that are all either one stories or bi-levels located in Tyndall Park. The year built and effective year built ranges from 1990 to 2001. Living area ranges from 1,050 square feet to 1,214 square feet. All comparables have full basements. Comparables 3 and 4 have basement finish. 1 and 2 have unfinished basements, similar to the subject. The bathroom count ranges from 1.5 to 3. All comparable properties have central air conditioning. Comparable number 3 has a fireplace. All comparable properties have garages, whether attached or detached. The lot size ranges from 4,079 square feet to 9,068 square feet. Comparable number 2 has a heavy traffic influence. The sale price for these properties range from $318,000 to $360,400. This has been time adjusted to a range of $329,800 to $389,100. which gives us a time adjusted price per square foot range from $314.10 to $332.88. So based on these comparable properties, they are all quite a bit smaller than the subject property, but I do feel that that current 2023 assessment of $393,000 is supported by market evidence. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wright. Mr. Belenky, do you have any questions of the assessor?
No questions.
Thank you. Ms. Warhun?
None, thanks.
Thank you. And I have no questions. Thank you, Ms. Wright.
Yes.
And now we'll move to number 9 on our docket, 134 Kane Avenue.
This subject property is roll number 0706-1844000. This is 134 Kane Avenue, a 1.5 story house located in Silver Heights. The year built and effective year built are 1951. Living area is 1,434 square feet. There is a full basement with no basement finish. There are 1.5 bathrooms. There is central air. There's no fireplace, and there is a detached garage. The lot size is 5,399 square feet, and the current 2023 assessment is $307,000, which works out to $214.09 per square foot. This property most recently sold in 2015 for $263,000. So I have 4 comparables here that are all 1.5 stories located in Silver Heights. Year built and effective year built ranges from 1950 to 1953. Living area ranges from 1,291 square feet to 1,477 square feet. All comparables have full basements. Comparables 3 and 4 have basement finish, and comparables 1 and 2 do not, which is similar to the subject. The bathroom count ranges from 1 to 2. All comparables have central air. Comparable 2 has a fireplace. All comparables have garages. Some are detached and some are attached. Comparable number 4 does have an in-ground pool, which would require an adjustment. The lot size ranges from 5,398 square feet to 6,311 square feet. There's the sale price for these properties range from $267,000 to $355,000. Time adjusted range from $298,200 to $378,800, which gives us a time adjusted price per square foot range from $227.81 to $256.47. So based on these comparable properties, I feel that the current 2023 assessment for the subject property of $307,000 is supported by market evidence. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wright. Mr. Belenky, do you have any questions of the assessor's evidence?
No questions.
Thank you. Ms. Werhun, do you have any questions of the assessor's evidence?
No questions.
Thank you, and I have no questions either. So that concludes our hearing. We've heard all the items scheduled, and this hearing is now adjourned. Thank you, Ms. Wright, for your time today.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thanks, you too.
Bye.